All right, so I looked all over YouTube. There's um, two videos of the Jim Green Baobab boot, Baobab, which is, I think, a tree. It's an iconic African tree that lives for quite a while. But there's one guy that leaves a review. He reviews boots. It's his thing. I'll tag him below. I can't remember his name off the top of my head. And then Jim Green does a video of how they build it. And this is my first pair of heritage inspired boot. And my initial review, I wore it for a couple hours today. I have a feeling these are going to be a bear to break in compared to like Danners. And these are my work boots. Danners are made in the United States. These are handcrafted in South Africa. But the leather on Danners are like 2 mils thick. They're pretty thin. And then it's a wedge sole, like a proper wedge sole. And then it has a nice like synthetic insole that is comfortable. This is full leather construction between the outer leather, which is like 2.2, and the inner leather, whatever that math is, it comes out to like almost 4 millimeter thick leather here, with the lining leather, which is calfskin leather, and then the outer, which is cow, I believe, or bull, whatever, who knows. And then on top of the super thick leather, you have you can't see it in the video, but leather insole, which will shape to my foot over time. And then you have a veg tan leather lasting board, which is relatively thick. This will all shape to my foot over time. But it's not that comfortable right off the rip. And I'm not a heavy guy. The guy that reviews it says he's like, there's no break-in period at all. There's absolutely a break-in period, but I think he's probably like 280, and I am 180, pockets full of sand. The other tough part is all of this leather here on top of the gusseted tongue. So once you tie all this together, you bring it all in, there's a lot of leather on the top of your foot. And it's not a flexible boot at all. Not even like a little, compared to broken in Danner. These are steel toe though, but and there is a steel shank here, but that, it's neither here nor there. These are gonna these are gonna be tough. I wear a size, my Danners are 10s, most of my shoes, a 10 is a little tight, but I like my gym shoes to be snug. These are super roomy. It's not as wide as their typical boot that Jim Green does. I don't know if we can tell the difference, but these are both stitched down construction, so the Danners are relatively wide compared to like a Red Wing or any other boot that's Goodyear welted construction. There's a lot of room in the toe box on these guys. So these are like slippers because they're broken in and easily broken in, and I wear them 8 to 10 hours a day on concrete floors. I'm not a mechanic, but they get like a mechanic's level of use. If I could compare it to anything, I don't work construction. I'm inside wrenching on things, but I'm not actually like an auto mechanic. So that's how I would compare this. These are gonna be my daily boots during late spring, like early spring, late fall, wintertime type deal. There's too much leather here to be wearing these in the summertime. And what's nice, I'm just rambling here, there's a foam like mid sole, or like the foam sole, and then it's skinned with their in-house like version of a Vibram sole, which I really like. Everything on this boot sourced, made in South Africa, including the sole, laces, rivets, speed hooks, leather, thread, all sourced in South Africa, which is pretty impressive and pretty cool. There's other people out there that could explain to you their whole story. But if you buy a certain pair of their boots, for every 10 pairs sold, I think it's their African Rangers, they donate a pair to an African Ranger. And I think they've done around 1,400 pairs so far that have been donated, because they don't get paid a lot. And Jim Green takes care of these people, which is super cool. They also pay their employees fairly well, I do believe, for South African standards. But it's going to take me a while to break these in, because I won't be wearing them to work, because I don't want to ruin them at work. This is not and it's not really the type of boot I need for work, but it's a boot that I wanted. So we'll give it a try. I can't compare it to like the Iron Rangers, the Red Wing Iron Rangers, which I think this kind of goes up against, but it's a more aggressive. Like, this is like an outdoors heritage boot. Like the Iron Ranger you're not wearing in the woods. This, I'd wear off-roading, because you can get a little dirty. You can get them off like in the Jeep, right? Like, I have a little XJ. I could wear them for that. Working outside would be fine, because outside dirt is easy to clean off. Inside mechanical fluid, hydraulic fluid, brake fluid, whatever, what have you, is just not going to do it. It's not going to come out. So it's going to take some time to break these in, but in, let's say, 6 months, I'll give another update on my thoughts on these, especially because I'm pretty new to the boot world. I have some Red Wing Logger Maxes that I broke in. Those are comfortable, but they have a lot of synthetic materials to kind of help with that. This, the only synthetic material is like the laces and the sole. So they're gonna be a hog breaking these in, but I'm excited for them. They should be I think they're a pretty sharp looking boot. From the top, they look really wide, but nobody's looking down at your boots like that. So I wouldn't concern myself with it. There's no logos anywhere, which I really like. Just on the tongue, and nobody's going to see that, especially when you tie it all up. Your pants are hanging over. I don't really like brand names on anything. So Danner on the tongue and on the back with an American flag, because these are made in the United States with imported parts and pieces. And then this toe right here is hand stitched. I would not recommend these for heavy duty work, but if you are indoors wrenching, I would recommend it. At some point, I'm probably gonna have to get this toe sealed and coated, but other than that, these Danners are hands down. When these are done, I'm getting another set of Danners, 100%. Would absolutely. And these are unlined. If you work indoors, I would 100% recommend an unlined boot. No lining, like no leather lining, no lining at all. Just the base leather. And if you work on concrete, you need a wedge sole boot, like without a doubt. I know like iron workers use these because they're good grip, and they're good for mechanics. Depending on your construction, your trade, pipe fitter, maybe welder, if you're on your feet on cement floors for long hours, there's no better boot. If you're wearing cowboy boots and you think they're comfortable, you're flat out wrong. You just gotta try these. You have to try a wedge boot. Doesn't have to be Danner, it could be Red Wing. These are $50 less than Red Wing. And if you're wearing like a Caterpillar boot that has a heel, like this does not have a heel, so this would still be pretty comfortable, but it's not as flat as these. If you have like a heel, no bueno. You gotta get yourself a pair of wedge boots if you're on your feet all day long. I know guys wear these in construction, but there's no tread. No tread. And if you work on rough surfaces, it's gonna be gone. If you drag your feet, I don't drag my feet that much. This is like 2 or 3 years of like wear on coated flooring. But if you drag your feet a bunch and you're on coated floor and you got rough cement, you're gonna burn through these like crazy. So you gotta take that into consideration. I know Brunt, it's absolute junk, but if you're tight on money, they do a layer similar to this, so it lasts longer, be better for construction, and then you still have all that support. But that's enough of my rant. But I just wanted another review out there of these Baobabs, because all it was Jim Green and a guy that does it for a living, basically. I didn't see any regular people reviewing these boots yet. So there you go, Jim Green Baobab. It's not a bad piece.